Hey, happy day 675 of What's She Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, also known as Pajama Grandma, documenting the journey as I go from the offline brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. As I have gone through my vast career and business ownership and found myself in a situation where I had an opportunity to decide what I wanted to do. I actually had the amazing opportunity to decide, hey, if I could do anything I want, what would I want to do? And I decided that after decades of being interested in the online world and just kind of looking at it and watching what was going on, but not really having the time or energy to jump into it, I decided that I would jump into it and I would explore and I would figure it out and I would do what other people do, or I would decide where in this vast array of online business and online world, where I wanted to reside, where I wanted to be, where I wanted to exist. And this is just my little way of documenting that journey. I have some visual challenges right now, and probably, well, okay, let's be honest, for the rest of my life. And so it's easier for me to document by making it a short video. I used to, and I still do, I still write a gazillion things down. I'm a huge notebook person. And as I say that, of course, my notebook is to the side in my backpack. I'm not going to dig it out. I always write things down. Even though I can't read my notes, I am perpetually writing and making notes on bags and napkins and wherever, hoping to capture things that I think are important at the time. And to reinforce learning, whenever we are exposed to something, I have learned over the years, my dad taught me that if I write it down, I'm much more likely to retain it. I'm much more likely to remember it. But what I want to talk about today is self-evaluation and self-judgment. And the reason I want to talk about this is as I finished my videos this morning, my last video, I caught myself trashing myself on every single video. Now, let's be honest, my videos are terrible. They're in my bathrobe. They're in a strange set. My lighting is bad. If I go like this, it shines off of that metal. And I know all this, and I can evaluate all this. But it isn't that I'm evaluating. It's evaluating what I said or how I said it. And it's always a negative thing. The first thought is always a negative thing. And there's a difference between self-evaluating and looking at ourselves and what we do and how we do it and saying, okay, what was good about that? What can I improve? What can I do better? And just automatically going to the self-deprecating, the self-negative, the not self-loathing, but just giving ourselves a hard time. When did it become, and I don't even know for me personally, but for each of us, when did it become okay that instead of being our own cheerleader, being our own best friend, really pushing ourselves forward, that we've gotten so inundated with negativity and inundated with negative messages that we criticize the living daylights out of ourselves no matter what? I guess I think I'm not doing that, but apparently I do that all the time. And so my challenge this week from a personal standpoint is going to be, how do I find ways to not do that? How do I find ways to negate the impact of that? I already know the answer. It's meditation, it's affirmations, it's self-talk, it's catching it when it happens and canceling it out and stopping it. But I really thought I'd done a lot of that work. Don't we get into a spot where we think, oh, I should be done with this? But guess what? We're not done. Our lives are a continually improving process of becoming the best version of ourselves that we can possibly be. So guess what? We're never going to get done. It's like if we're creating something in the world, it's probably never going to be perfect. It's never going to be done because we could always make it better. We could always create something better, something more. We could always improve it, just like ourselves. We can always improve ourselves. But how do we get from the self-judgment, negative thoughts that we're feeding ourselves to make those positive thoughts? And I know there's coaches and people that teach that, and I'll look into some of that this week and decide what is best for me, because the fact that I'm noticing it means I need to and want to do something about it. The reason we judge things is because it's something that our subconscious wants us to see. It's something that we need to see. Have you ever noticed when you're talking about other people or judging other people or noticing something in other people, it's usually because it's something in yourself that you need to look at. I'll notice if I'm noticing people that are overweight, it's because I am letting my health habits or my weight go in the direction I don't want it to go. It's not because I'm judging them, I'm just noticing them because my brain, my subconscious is feeding me information that says, well, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have eaten those 6 caramels. Maybe you shouldn't have had that caramel and whipped cream on that piece of apple pie for supper instead of eating a nice salad or a nice supper. But we all do that. Our bodies and our minds are always giving us messages to help us be better, to help us become the best version of ourselves that we could possibly be. So we can tap into and we can listen to those, but we can listen to those in ways that isn't negative or self-judgment. I think there's a difference between self-evaluation and self-judgment. Being, open and saying, hey, this is who I am, this is what I love to do, this is how I feel about certain things, but then also asking yourself, does that still serve me? Because guess what? We all still have things from our childhood, from our youth, things that we've picked up along the way that are operating. It's like your computer operating system. I hate using technical analogies, but this one works, okay? Your computer operating system is always running on your computer, whether you know it or not. Our subconscious is the same way. It's always running and making decisions and choices for us because we couldn't possibly consciously make all the decisions and choices, even to breathe, much less do all of the other amazing things that our bodies and our lives do for us. So a lot of it has to be subconscious. But there's things subconsciously that are continuing to operate in our life that don't serve us anymore, that we really don't want to have operating in our life. And one of those is usually judgment and negative self-talk, especially toward ourselves. And how you know you're doing it to yourself, if you don't know on a conscious level, if you catch yourself judging other people, gossiping about other people, talking about other people, having opinions about a lot of things that, if you're really honest, they just don't matter. What I think about somebody's outfit doesn't matter. Now, it might be reminding me that my fashion sense is a little off as I sit here in my bathrobe. I already know that, right? And am I judging that? Am I evaluating that? Am I lovingly embracing who I am? Don't know. But it's all a matter of self-evaluation. And what I have found is the vast majority of us human beings are a lot harder on ourselves than anyone else on the planet would ever be on us. Think of your meanest boss ever, if you've had a mean boss. Most of us have had at least one ridiculous boss in our lives, if we've been around long enough or worked long enough. Think about your meanest boss ever, or imagine the meanest boss you could possibly ever have. Would that person talk to you the way you talk to yourself in your head? And if the answer is no, then we have some work, I know I have some work to do about the voice in my head and what's talking to me and telling me how I do things, what I do, what I'm capable of, and where I'm going in my life. If that voice is negative or derogatory, or, the voice of your first grade teacher still, or the voice of your ex-husband, then it's time to reevaluate the voice that you're listening to and change that voice. Make that voice the angel on your shoulder. Make that voice your best friend. Make that voice the cheerleading version of you, not the criticizing, judgmental version of you. I always like to think that the little angel is the little one about love, and the little devil is actually the one about judgment and criticism, gossip, doubt, worry, fear, evil, and all the other good characteristics, love, light, are the angel. And so sometimes that little visualization helps me to remind myself, okay, you know what? Yeah, it wasn't awesome, but guess what? It wasn't the worst video you've ever made either, because I've made some doozies. So that's just what I'm thinking about today. Self-evaluation, self-deprecation, quit essing on ourselves and treat ourselves like we want to be treated. Treat yourself like you would treat your best friend. If you're not, that's a good rule of thumb. If you're not treating yourself and talking to yourself like you would your best friend, what are you doing? Because you have to be your own best friend. So, didn't talk about that today. Actually, that just came up in my mind after I did my videos today. Videos today were on top of the world. The expression on top of the world. Love that one. BP challenge, day 69. 69 already. It's almost the end of the year. It's almost the end of the 90-day challenge. Day 69 was all about reviewing the section that we just finished, which was the basics. Things like water, air, sleep, other techniques that you can use to help you achieve your goal and objective in the 90-day challenge, things like that. And then herbs. And then the one thing that we're going to carry forward from this segment through the rest of the challenge. Talked about that. On top of the world, talked about that. And just, I got a lot of projects I'm working on right now. The end of the year always seems to be tie up the projects of the year, end of the year activity. So there's a lot of that. Plus family and friends and holidays and just enjoying being and existing. That's my favorite thing to do, right? Just to be me. If I can help you in any way with challenges, with specific business questions, online or offline, hit me up in the comments below. Okay, say if I don't know, I'll find you somebody that does know the answer. Because there is no reason to ever be stuck nowadays. We can make up a lot of reasons in our mind about why I'm stuck, why I have to be here, why I can't figure this out. But the truth is, we don't have to be anywhere we don't want to be. We don't have to do anything we don't want to do. We don't have to stay stuck, because if we can't see the next thing to do, somebody can help us do that. And I'm awesome at helping you to see through the forest, through the trees, to the forest, to the next thing that you have to do. And that's the most important thing to remember. We don't have to do everything. We just have to do the next thing. So what's your next thing today? That's it. Go out, have an absolutely amazing, awesome day, and I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.